Stealing loot in Sea of Thieves is wrong. I don't care if it's a pirate game. PvP is only allowed between 2 consenting adults. I would never teach you guys how to rob somebody. However, hypothetically, if I was going to rob someone using the new traps, then hypothetically, here are the best tips and tricks. Step 1. Check the map table to see if there's Reapers in your server. Step 2. Sail to the nearest fort and grab all the kegs. Step 3. Sail directly to Reaper's hideout. We're about to make the best Reaper's hideout booby trap you've ever seen. The goal here is to fill the selling room with kegs. They need to be spaced out enough to set off a chain reaction that blows up the whole room at once. But these also need to be invisible when you're looking into the room from the doorway. If the enemy notices even one keg from the doorway, then our cover is blown and they're not going to fall for the trap. These are the best keg spots I've found to be barely noticeable from the doorway, while also giving enough coverage to kill everything in the room. This is important because even if the first person into the room misses your trap, then at least their crewmate behind them could still set off the trap and you want to make sure both die in the explosion. The ultimate goal here is to full wipe the entire enemy crew. Step 4 is to put down your trap. You're going to want it perfectly centered in the doorway a few feet back. This is going to be really hard to notice before you run into it, especially if you're carrying a chest or something that's blocking the entire bottom of your vision. You'll want to load this trap with a blunderbomb to maximize damage and ensure that the explosion sets off a chain reaction of kegs. Step 5 is to wait until you see the enemy Reaper sailing to your island. It's at this point that you'll quickly need to hide both your ship and your mermaid. Make sure you've cooked merfruit until it glows to turn it into enchanted merfruit. Eating this will despawn your mermaid for a little while. And finally, you'll scuttle your ship to make sure the enemy has no clue they're in danger. There's no backing out of the plan now. You have no ship and no mermaid. Step 6 is to hide somewhere that you can watch the show. And please be careful because these traps do have friendly fire enabled. Once your trap goes off, you can either run in and sell whatever your dead enemy was trying to sell, or if you're more skilled at PvP, you can keep a second keg stash on the island away from the explosion. You can just start bombing their ship with kegs. Now this will require you to still spawn trap the enemy until they sink, and remember you only have 1 life. That's why if you're attempting this heist as a solo player, then I would recommend you stick to the first plan and just focus on robbing the loot, instead of attempting to actually sink them. Next, I'll show you the best way to rob someone at an outpost by booby-trapping the Sovereign's tent. You're gonna space out kegs inside the tent and make sure they aren't visible from the entrance. I accidentally discovered you can glitch a keg beneath the deck here. Remember, the key here is stealth. The key here is stealth. Now you're going to place 1 or 2 traps at the entrance and rig them with blunderbombs. You could also place a second trap on the moving platform, just in case they try to sell from the other side. And the beauty of the Sovereign's tent is that no one gets suspicious when they see loot here. People leave old resource crates sitting here all the time, which means we can use one to hide our trap. We're going to go buy a fruit crate from the Merchant Alliance, and now I'm going to take the fruit crate. I'm just gonna grab the fruit crate. I'm gonna firmly grasp it. This is me hitting the X button to take the fruit crate, which I purchased. I bought this fruit crate, so now obviously I get to take the fruit crate. Looks like I'm using myself as the chest to hide these traps, but you still get the idea. This would totally catch someone off guard. But what if you don't have kegs? Don't worry, because this trap still works without kegs. Now obviously 1 trap alone isn't enough to kill someone, but luckily all you need is 2 blunderbomb traps next to each other to one-shot kill. This spot here still works with 2 traps, 2 blunderbombs, and 2 boxes to hide them. My final tip for you is that traps can also be very useful on forts to steal a vault key. Before the enemy can unlock the treasure vault, they'll have to run right through this tight spot here under the stairs. This is the perfect place to hide 2 blunderbomb traps, or even kegs at the sides. If you're hiding nearby, then you can really easily swoop in and steal this vault key. And most importantly, you can block the vault door with loot and people won't even be that suspicious. Crewmates pile loot in front of this door all the time. My next tip is that you cannot bury kegs with this strategy. I myth-busted it to check and it doesn't work. In all fairness, it would be so overpowered if this worked with buried kegs. On the bright side, you can also bury traps to make them a little less noticeable. From my experience, the best place to quickly find traps is at outposts. You can find them in barrels anywhere, but the spawn rate is dramatically higher at outposts for some reason. And these are all the best ways to set sneaky traps. Hypothetically. Remember, please do not try this at home because obviously stealing is wrong. And I would hypothetically really appreciate it if you subscribe to me. Thanks for watching.